Hey, this is Ken, and I'm here at North County House of Motorcycles, and I have received a GPS from BRP, and my dealer is going to be installing it today, and they're going to take care of me, get me in and get me out, because tomorrow I'm heading up to Tracy, California to meet up with the new chapter leaders of West Coast Spider Northern chapter, Northern California chapter, and also with the young lady that it will be running the new ladies group, riders group, Three Wheels on Heels. And so we're going to kind of try and document the installation of the GPS. Okay, as we're taking the plastic off, there's a couple of things we want to point out. Is that the front shield is covering up a screw that goes right in here at this point. So make sure you get that screw off. Also, all the screws are on the same size with the exception of the one that comes out next to the volume control just under the seat. This is a shorty. So if you have all the same size screws and you have one shorty, that's where the shorty goes. Under the seat, on the volume control side, passenger, just off the saddlebags.
Shorty right here.
And make sure that you get this one down here, plastic muff. That's also a shorty. So if you come out with two shorties, now you know where they go.
The main event up here is the headlight has to come out because you're going to be running your wires through that little center piece of the steering wheel right there.
Okay.
So all your wires are going to be running through here. You're going to have to run them through there. And the main reason why you take the headlight out is because you're trying to retrieve the wires inside of here. Is where you're going to be pulling your wires out.
So once you go through the hole in the steering column, you're going to come out behind where the headlight would be. So you remove the headlight, get it out of the way.
Just to get into there, and then you're going to be routing it down through the side over here. And then to the back.
And then the path of travel is down through the side, down the column, up the side, and then back up to where the plug. Now the plug that everything plugs into for the final touch-up to the bike is hidden behind the saddlebag. And it is a multi-connector plug, as you can see. And that's the only plug that's actually on the bike. Now, what plugs into that bike? As stated on some of the forums, to look for a 3.5, here's a 3.5. Here's the plug that goes onto the bike. Here's where it goes onto the GPS that runs the route behind the headlight up to the mount that goes onto the steering column. This 3.5 is in the box. Look in your GPS box from Can-Am and you'll find it there. Don't be looking for it on the bike. It's not there. You'll never find it. You're wasting time. There's your connections, just like that. So the bike connects to here. This connects to the plug, 3.5 plug here, which then leads out to where the GPS is and will mount. That's your system. Okay, additionally, you have two solder points. These two have to be soldered together, but you can't get it through the steering column and everything if you solder it up. So don't solder it up first. Take and run it through the steering column and get it down to where it needs to go, the leads to go to, and then solder them up, plug in, and you're good to go.
Make sure that they overlap.
Make sure you plug them in, make sure that they overlap. Then you take a heat gun.
Yeah.
And you just heat that up, and there's your connection. There's no soldering, actual solder, old-fashioned soldering to do on it. It's simply push in, heat it up, connection's complete, it's done. State of the art. Okay, this is what the bike looks like when you have the panels that you have to take off. We start on the driver's side, on the left-hand side of the bike. Pull the panels off, pull the mirror off, pull your lower panel off, expose the front end, pull this panel off that normally goes here, pull the headlight out so that you can fish the wires. Make sure that when you pull this panel off, you can get to this screw which is what takes this panel down here off. Take and pull the side panels off all the way down to the last panel, and You don't have to pull the saddlebag off, okay? So those that think of you have to pull the saddlebag off, you don't have to. The only reason you'd be pulling the saddlebag off is if you couldn't find the plug and the plug is hidden behind the saddlebag. Just reach up in there, find it. It's easy to get. He got it in like 2 minutes, and it was not a big deal. Didn't have to take off any of the lower panels to do anything here, and so those are left on. Okay, and here again, want to say it again, we're going to have 2 screws that are short. One screw goes down here on the fin, one screw goes up here just on the underneath the seat. Okay, those 2 locations take short screws and not the regular standard long screws. The other thing is that these are not screws. You look at them when they're on the side of the bike. You look at them and they're on the side of the bike and you think that they're actual screws that have to come out. They're not. If you look on the back side, they're plugs, they're studs. They push into a rubber grommet. Okay, so if you're going to take and unscrew these, you're going to add at least 5 or 10 hours to the project. Okay, so don't attempt to screw them, they actually just pull right out. Okay, now that he's got the plug in, now he has to do is do that heat solder to the connections and then route the wire and tie it off. Don't forget to put your sleeve on. They give you a plastic sleeve within the packet to as a shield. So since he's put the connectors on, all he's done is take the heat gun, heat it up, and that's what makes your connection instead of soldering. Make sure you got a good tight connection and then throw the heat gun on it. Be careful not to move it too much because you can pull it out of there while you still heat that up and melt that plastic. That also makes it watertight, the connection. No soldering iron or gun is needed, only a heat gun. And that's how you do your connections. Here again, no soldering. But make sure you got a good tight connection in there and that you get the plastic melted tight so you can have that water seal. Don't leave it half-assed. Do it right. Take your time. Okay, we just stuck the shield on. And he's going to have a couple of holes he has to drill, and then we'll move to the next step.
I think these are going to be for future uses. Seal these off so they don't get dirty.
So what he's done is he sealed off the 3.5